Welcome everybody to another episode of Beyond the Wars. We are very blessed today to have Abuna Jonathan with us. Abuna, if you could introduce yourself, Abuna.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. I am Abuna Jonathon from St. Mark Church in Ancliffe, and I'm extremely happy to be in the land, in the area of St. Mark College, and among those beautiful youth who are the joy of our hearts. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Abuna.
So, Abuna, just before we start, I would like to know, what's your favorite saint?
Too many saints. Very hard to say one saint, but St. Mark, of course, because I'm serving in St. Mark. And St. Juanas, I became very, very good friend with him 10 years ago, was not my friend before. And St. George, I grew up in St. George's Church, and I love Pocolalos Marimina. I'm not sure he came in today, is his feast. I love him very much.
St. George in Alexandria?
St. George, St. George in Cairo. Yeah.
Do you get a special VIP treatment from St. Manas? You don't
Actually, the relationship with St. Juanas started by finding something for me. Before that, I'm a person that if you give me two books, one miracle book and the other book is talking about spirituality or something like that, I'll read the spirituality and I trust in miracles, but I'm not a person who always asks in miracles. I see the miracles all the time. And I lost one day my passport in Malaysia. And if you lose your passport in Malaysia, usually they take it worth $10,000 because a lot of corruption. They take a picture, put another picture. So I finished from the airport going to the hotel. They asked for the passport. I couldn't find my passport first time to me. And it was the Christmas Eve. I have to pray in Malaysia and then fly to Singapore to celebrate with the families over there. Which is I found very responsible from Abuna to lose his passport and cannot pray with the families, 50 families waiting for Abuna to celebrate the Christmas. So it was really terrible. So I asked the man in the hotel, I used to go serve in Malaysia for 15 years, so he knows me. And they said, forget about it, you won't find it. And I said, what should I do? And he said, I tried to remember where have you been and so on. And it had never been anything. I went from the airport to the hotel. I haven't been anything in the taxi now, very hard because the passport is in my bag always. So I begged someone, the first time I to say, yes, Antoine, save me, please. So it came to my mind instantly that I bought a bottle of water in the airport from a shop. It's very, very dislikely that I dropped my passport. I usually put it in the bag straight away after immigration. The only option. So I said, so I will go, St. Juanas, please help me. And if you help me, I will be appreciative the rest of my life to St. Juanas. And I took a taxi 1 hour from the hotel to the airport. Airport is very far away from 1 hour, the only option I had. And then I went into that shop having almost zero hope that I will find my passport. Zero. But I'm just relying on St. Juanas. And then a young man was serving in the shop, saw me with my uniform, and I got your passport.
Oh, wow.
So I almost tears come from my eyes. I will be staying in Malaysia to get another passport for weeks and so on. So he saved me. Since then, he became my good friend. Many other Americans. But,
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that how you started St. Juanas Charity?
No, actually, St. Juanas Charity started by a very lovely doctor who visited us from Egypt. A very beautiful soul and humble in his heart. He would like to start an incubator center in a very poor area in Cairo called El Haggana. And I know this area because it was close to where I used to live. Very, very extremely poor area. You cannot imagine this can be in Cairo. And he came and said that incubator is so important. The ladies give premature delivery, and unless there is an incubator, the baby will die, and they cannot afford because it costs 10,000 Egyptian pounds per day to put a kid into an incubator. I would like to offer that to the moms in this area for free. Can you help me? And we asked for 250,000 Egyptian pounds for every incubator, which is around, at that time, maybe $5,000. So it moved my heart very much, this service, and I started searching how incubator is important, like for an immature delivered baby. And being a statistician, I started to look into statistics. I found the very strong statistics saying that if a baby is born premature, the chance he die is 90%. And if you find an incubator, the chance will drop to 10%. And this is how
Wow.
important the incubator is. Say in developing countries, premature people, because they don't find an incubator, which is the same thing, same statistics, they will die with 90% chance they will die. And if they find an incubator in developed countries, because any premature people can go to any hospital and find an incubator, the chance for zero, always very big. So it moved my heart very much. And I love kids by nature. I really enjoy kids very much. So I thought at that time I will start something for kids because there are many charities in Sydney and none of them is specializing in kids. So I thought to start a charity that is specializing to deal with kids and especially incubators. So we start with that, and within a month we give him 3 incubators. Within a year, I think 15 incubators, and we still providing incubators to
Wow.
Egypt and Brazil and Kenya in Africa.
Wow.
So incubator became something big. It's like a strategy.
What made you choose the name Saint Oneness?
Because of this relationship to St. Jonas. I tried to find a child baby name for the charity and for St. Jonas.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know if we have mentioned the topic even. Today, obviously, we're talking about service, and you mentioned many different ways that you serve, that the church serves. In today's world, like you get services, helping a lady cross the street, not a lady cross the street. But how does Orthodox Christians, Coptic Orthodox Christians, view service?
Well, this week is a week of Jesus being very gentle, going and visiting the Samaritan woman 6 hours walking, just to be gentle with him, because probably the Samaritan woman didn't came across any kind person before. She was very hard. Her life was very hard, being young lady and being abused by men, like different men tried to abuse her, and probably she hadn't seen any kindness before. So the Lord decided to be kind. This is the Samaritan woman story. So he walked 6 hours just to be kind to this lady. And the outcome that this lady fell in love with Jesus and went to preach everyone about the Lord, and she followed him. And the story said later on, her house became a church and so on. So I think serving the Lord is into the life of Jesus. You'll find that mainly Jesus was a very kind person, like going around doing good to everyone, and people start to going after him because of his kindness and how beautiful and gentle he is. So I think the service starts with being gentle, as you said. If a lady need help to possess it, offer her that help.
So Bona, as like Coptic Orthodox people, I feel like sometimes we fall into the trap of seeing service like in church and service out of church. And like, in church we can be Sunday school teachers, but outside of church, like, yeah, we just smile and be nice, but we're not really evangelizing, to maybe the degree that we're called to. So how can we, kind of just be the same throughout?
Yeah. Maybe some ideas you can do yourself, like close to Easter. What's the group of youth to go to a shopping center, having a table, and giving pamphlets or giving the small cross as a gift? I think any church has budget. If you go to a owner or the treasurer, say, "I'm going to do that. I need $500 or so," they will give you very happily. So the money is not the problem, but some initiative like that, maybe you touch the heart of one or two people. They may ask you for a Bible or something like that. So we really need to be courageous enough to start something small like that. When we started St. One as a charity, we wished that maybe we can donate one incubator in the first year. It was not in our mind that something will grow very much in 5 years now, St. Wellness. The blessing of the Lord was really amazing. Just you start something and the Lord will bless. So maybe initiative like that you can do in Easter time, or maybe one day open day for the community around St. Mark College, in which you open the doors and the youth offer something for free, and maybe talking about if they come and they'd like to talk about Christ, about your faith, about your school, with the chance to speak with people around you. Yeah.
Abuna, how do we balance our like schoolwork and personal commitments and things like that while also doing service? Because especially like the youth our age, sometimes we get too like caught up in study, but we forget service.
I'll tell you a story about when you serve the Lord, you have faith that the Lord is going to bless your time very much if you put in your heart to serve the Lord. the story about the Tamabirini, that one day Tamabirini, it's a feast of Abu Sifin. The monastery is full of people, very, very busy. And she had to greet everyone. They come to see her and have their blessing. She was very, including priests, bishops, and very important people in the country come to have their blessing. So she has to stay with them until 2 o'clock in the morning. And next day, as a nun, she has to start the day with Tasbih. Tasbih starts 4 o'clock in the morning. But she said a beautiful prayer. She said that herself that this is one day she didn't have a time. The time was short, and she has to go up for tasbih. She used to pray tasbih every day in the morning. So she said a beautiful prayer, and the prayer is, Lord, I'll sleep 2 hours, but make them feel like 8 hours. I don't know how she come into this idea, but it is faith in God. He can make the 2 hours 8 hours, as He makes the five loaves and two fish enough for many, many people. And she said, I'm not going to put the alarm to wake me up. I just rely on you. And she slept and wake up next day in the time of Tasbaha. And she said that during the day, I met with many, many other people come to celebrate still Abu Sufyan feast. And I felt very energetic and I was waiting at 10 o'clock, I will feel fatigue or tired, but I was very energetic. And then at 5 p.m., I thought this is enough. Yeah, and 2 hours, I slept in 48 hours. It's not enough, but she's still very powerful. Things with the Lord is that if you put in your heart to serve the Lord, don't worry about it. The Lord will bless us, definitely. And put the Lord number one. Like Tamabirini, when it comes to Tasbih, Tasbih is number one. I have to go to Tasbih. So put the Lord always number one. Like if you read your Bible, if you need to read your Bible and you have to study, you have exam tomorrow, but I used to read my Bible and have faith. If I start by reading my Bible, the Lord will bless the rest of it. So put the Lord number one and He will bless the rest of it 100%.
Yes, on Joseph's point, I hear this saying sometimes that so like your study is your service.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when you're in school, sometimes is that from the devil telling you you don't need other ways to serve? You're studying, that's fine. Or is that fine for us as students to say study is our service?
Yeah, what about you ask the Lord? I love to serve you, Lord. If you open a door, I would say no. Like if while you are studying, and study is very important in your this year, of course, and study is a service, that's true. It means that this year is very important to study. But if the Lord open a door of service, like maybe a Buna in the church call you and say, I'm visiting someone, is your friend and so on, I need you to come with me. Can you spare half an hour? I guess in this case, you don't say study is a service, but they say if you open Lord the door for a service, yeah, the general rule is the study is a service in your year 12, of course, and it's important here. But if the Lord open a door for service, I would say if while I'm studying, my mom needs me to do something, she's late from work, and I have my younger siblings, and I need to warm some food for them until my mom comes and say, no, 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 I'm studying. I'm not ready to serve. And I think whenever the Lord open a door for service, please understand it is from the hand of the Lord, and please accept it to serve the Lord, whatever the Lord serves.
So on that point though, like
Yeah.
just to be the devil's advocate, what if there aren't many doors that are open for you, but you feel the need to open it, like you feel the need to do a service
Yeah.
even during this time?
Yeah. I think we pray every day in the morning, says the Lord, the 20 hours of the day is in your hand. And with faith, tell him, please put in my heart peace. Because as you said, not everything offered, we may say, no, we can stand it tomorrow. That's why the saying of study is a service, because being Sunday school servant or involved in a charity or a mission or so, probably this is not the right time. I can do it from this year, but not from the year. I'm very busy with year 12. But ask the Lord, guide my heart, Lord. If a door open for service, put peace in my heart. Let it be prayer. Let us have the feelings that I have to do that now. And you bless the rest of my study. So always rely on the Lord and listen to the Lord in your path. But every day in the morning, ask Him, guide my day, Lord, and whenever I have peace in my heart, it is for you, Lord.
Mhm.
Wuna, can you like outline for us the difference between service and how important it is to sometimes serve in secret?
Yeah. I think the word serving in secret is something inside your heart. Like for example, if I went recently, as I was talking to you, to South Sudan for a missionary trip, and I would like to tell the people, the congregation, people who are following St. Juana's charity about this service, because this service in South Sudan is very important for many tens of thousands of people living in South Sudan need the help, and it moved our heart very much at St. Juana's charity. So putting a video or some photos of my service in South Sudan would sit and come and tell me you are showing off, you serve as a Lord over there and you come now and you are showing off and you'd like to put photos and all this stuff. Of course not. Yeah, because it has to be known to everyone, our service and so on. So I mean, Satan sometimes attack us saying, when you say something or you serve, and the nature of service has to be in front of people, Satan sometimes can come and confuse you and say, see, it's a show off.
Mm.
Although it is not a show off, it is the nature of service. But it depends on the heart. Like, is your heart really would like to show off?
Mm.
And you know your heart. Every one of us know our heart. And maybe it has 1 week as a human being. Maybe it has a little bit, maybe show, but 95% doesn't have a show. Or maybe I'll be happy if someone come and say, I like your photo, I like your stuff. But 95% I'm doing that for the sake of the Lord, for His glory. So yes, we can send a picture, we can show our service, we can talk about our service, as long as my heart is very clear between me and my confession father, that I always thought that I'm doing that for the glory of God. So Satan shouldn't use that as something to scare us when we serve. Our service has to be in front of everyone.
Like you mentioned South Sudan and other countries that we've served in, and in mission trips. Is it crucial for Christians to go on mission trips and experience service outside of the country they're in?
I think so. It's very, very beneficial. Like in every youth mission trip, when it changed the life of youth when they come, and I mean it changed the life of things. Like they are more involved in serving the Lord. They see how other people are in need of their service. Because when they go over there, they offer love to very poor people, either orphans or something like that, and they can offer also, like if a teacher over there and there is a school, they can help, or if a doctor is going to the mission trip and they can treat number of the families over there, because these areas of missionary are extremely poor. So they come and they would like to go again. Like I went to last mission trip to South Sudan with number of youth, and every one of them say we have to go again. Why? Because their heart is, and one of them is a businessman. One of the people that went with me is a businessman, and they start every couple of weeks together, say, give me some money, I get you some money for this service over there because it touched my heart. And they never been that before, but he's opened his heart very much to the people of God. The service in South Sudan is not only uh, like helping the very poor people to find a place or to find a place of education or medical service, but it is preaching Christianity to them. South Sudan is all Christians, but they don't practice Christianity. They don't know anything about Christianity. And the establishment in South Sudan now, which includes school, orphanage, and medical centers, they are preaching. First, they are preaching Christianity. So the person is responsible over there, Coptic person is over there looking after his service. I told him before I left South Sudan that he reminded me of San Mark, establishing in this city a Coptic city. So I imagine 1,100 kids studying in the Coptic school over there, praying Our Father in the mornings, Abula. Many of them get baptized, many of them saying through the reading of the Mother of God sent me in the morning, they talk about Christ. I can imagine 100 of them grow up to be either monks or priests or servants or nice people in the community. And the church is going to, the next step, I believe, in number of years, will be a church over there. And so when you go into a missionary, the Lord opened your mouth very much to those people. Exactly like some of every place you went, you start writing. And the epistles and the letters, and I miss you, and how is this lady, and how this man, as if the Lord opened his heart into this community. The mission trip are very important today. It's so beautiful.
I want just a personal question because you go on like a lot of mission.
Yeah.
Do you like keep a diary or like reflect so that you feel you can keep track of all the services you're doing?
Yeah. I'm very, very simple when it comes to that. Yeah, maybe you consider that undisciplined or so, but I'm simple. And I always think of myself. I don't like to keep photos of our family trips. Like I said, always a lost in memory every day. My wife is good discovering that. Maybe I'm relying on her because she's so, yeah, whenever I would like to see an old photo or so. But in my mind, also, I live the day. Always I live the day. And every day has its own beautiful memory. In last mission trip was in Egypt in December, where we visited very poor villages in Egypt, and we met with Pope Tawadros.
Wow.
So he said something really which line with my thinking, which made me comfortable about what I'm doing. One of the youth asked him, يعني, is it harder to be a pope, Sayyidina? As a human being, is it harder? How you can be a pope? So the pope laughed and said, I don't find it is hard at all. I started serving in Sunday school when I was in year 10 in the Manpur when he grew up. So I was a tool in the hand of I was serving. And now when I'm a pope, I have the same mentality. I wake up in the morning as a Sunday school teacher. Whatever you send me, Lord, I'm doing. I don't think much about being a pope. I don't think much about how my day is. It's busy. But I was also busy when I was Sunday school teacher. I was busy with my kids. I take them to the summer club and I take them to school and I take them to every place. I'm exactly still busy, but in a different height. So it was very simple, and I like his answer very much. Touched my heart. That
Yeah.
he look at it as I'm doing a work, and whatever the name of this work, it doesn't really matter.
That's
So,
beautiful.
but maybe it is already kept in Saint Wellness, yeah, covering this point in Saint Wellness Charity because every mission trip we have the records, we have the photos, we have the videos. Yes, it is already kept. But as a person, I'm not very fond of collecting food or something. Maybe because my wife is like me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. On that point, actually, I know I was having this discussion with someone and they were saying that Abuna Dawood Lame, he asked a lot of people in a conference, like a lot of bishops and priests, what age did you start serving? And they all collectively said like under the age of 12.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if this is a fair assumption, but I feel like maybe beforehand it was expected or easier to serve at a younger age. But like now it's like we have our Sunday school, then we have our study, then in uni and youth we have pre-servants, and then we can graduate and become servants.
Yeah.
But how can we kind of break the chains of like let's serve early?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think this you haven't started serving you because you are still in year 12 and you have a pre-servant class, but you are serving now. You are start this podcast and ask a question, prepare the question, but I give a little hard time to prepare and, many messages and all these things. This is a service, very, very beautiful service. And also if you help in your church, masalan, one of the kids doing something wrong, you stop and say, "No, Habibi, don't put the rubbish here, put the rubbish here," or he's jumping something which is risky as an older, 12 years of age or 14 years of age. You look after him. It is a service. When you prepare the books before the mass, or you collect the liturgy books after the mass, this is a service. So there are many types of service. Yeah, service is not only Sunday school service, but we start service very early. The idea of service starts very early.
Abuna, you mentioned before the idea of like having a simple mind with the Perpetual Address. When we serve and we have that simplicity of mind, we make sure that like the pride doesn't get to us. But over time, if people start noticing our service, how do we make sure that we keep having that simple mind?
Yeah, today is a feast of Abuna Bishoy Kamil. And Abuna Bishoy Kamil was great priest. Yeah, he established 10 churches in Alexandria. At the time that maybe a pope needs to be the president to allow him to establish one church. How we done that, I don't know. It is just to establish one church was a very hard. Establish 10 churches. I was very courageous. He doesn't care much about what's happening to him. So he go and pray mass and then he do the government at that time was very very persecuting the Christian at this time. Yeah, they're not allowed to build churches. So he was serving all the time, and he never feels that. Yeah, when I'm gonna tell you how Malati we serve closely with him, he said when we deal with him. He let us feel they are his sons. Yeah, was an older priest. He let us feel that he is the youngest. He asked us questions and he asked us how can I do that and forgive me because I'm not very well organized like you. Like this idea of that I'm doing the work never came to his heart. And any servant rely on the Lord very much. أنا تدرس يا مرتي came visit some market church 10 years ago or a bit more even and we done a revival, very nice revival. زبونة تدرس يا الله. He's a very beautiful priest. He said زبونة شو كامل and he wrote many books and he's very beloved by the Tadros. So we done a very nice revival and I noticed that before he started his talk he go to the altar and happened that I was in the altar a couple of nights, يعني, really, and he bowed down and prayed before he gave a talk for maybe 10 minutes, like that hymns are out going and so on, and he's asking the Lord to help him to give a talk. And I thought at that time, how many talks have he done? Like I used to be a lecturer at uni, and after 3 years preparing the subject, one subject, I don't prepare it anymore. Just I go to the lecture knowing everything, sometimes knowing what it is, because I repeated it many times. So it is, I don't worry. Yeah. And I think that when I say Martin, maybe give something like between 25,000 to 40,000 talk. I counted in his life, yeah, and he's a man that he's invited to many places to give a talk. How can he cannot give a talk? Some market church, small compared to Egypt. Egypt is meeting maybe thousands, but like some market church maybe a couple of hundreds sitting down or so. How come? Well, this is a style of service that I think he's the Lord of the service. He's the master of the service. I cannot do anything without him. I just ask him to help me, to guide me. Also, when I go to visitation with one of the father of St. Mark's Church, I like very much before he go knock on the door, he just say short prayer. Why when he visited so many people, yani, and he needs a Lord to go in front of him to say every word to be saved is coming from the mouth of the Lord. So it is very important in service not to rely on yourself, but rely on the Lord.
Yeah. Joseph's point, we recently had Will Dan for News on as well, and we asked him what's his favorite cook tasting. And yeah. So we asked him what's his favorite book on the story, and he told us that he really liked this story that when Pope Carlos used to be by himself, after he died, they realized they were cleaning out his room and they realized all the letters that he had were hate letters. Letters of people mocking him and talking bad about him. And he would throw out all of the letters of, people thanking him for his service. And I just wanted to ask him, how do we, he was known as the man of prayer. How do we complement prayer with service? And how do we, practically remove pride from the equation of service?
The disciple will be crazy if they thought that they fit the people. They are the one who Jesus was on the mountain, and probably 5,000 men plus ladies plus kids is about 20,000 in the desert sitting down. So no one can see Jesus very clear what he's doing. So Jesus told the disciple, go and let them sit down 50-50. They didn't know what's happening, but the Lord knows. And the disciple went and said to the people, go and sit down 50-50 because the Lord is preparing dinner for you. But they didn't know. They thought that they have a lot of food up in the mountain or so. They don't see what Jesus is doing. And then the disciple let them sit down. And then they went up to Jesus. And only Jesus, very far away from the people, is blessing and giving the disciple, and the disciple give to the people. So the one who gives the people are the disciples. They don't know Jesus. The one who wrote this story is the disciple later on about Jesus. But the people get the food from who? From the disciple. It would be crazy if St. Peter came at night and tell his wife, look what I have done today. I feel 5%. It was really crazy. Like, we understand that in our service, that the Lord is the one providing. If you give a talk and someone came and say, I need to confess, I haven't confessed for 20 years. And after your talk, it moved my heart very much, and I need to confess. Abuna will be out of his mind, out of his understanding, if he thinks that my talks move the heart of the person. No, the Lord moved his heart of the person. The Lord used one of the words to move the heart of the person. So this is the reality of service, the Lord, that we rely on an almighty God who can change the 5 loaves and the 2 fish into food. But out of his love, he makes the disciples famous by going giving to their relatives, their friends, and so on. And say, thank you, Peter. Thank you, Joel. Very kind of you. And the Lord is doing all the work. So we really need to understand that in our service. So no pride will come. If pride come in our service, we haven't understand yet the serving with the Lord, what it does mean.
So, Buna, I have a question.
Yeah.
Like, before we go, so we had the privilege of serving in the Philippines with school.
Yeah.
But it was like a 12-day trip. And, we went 12 days. We dedicated like time with the kids, with Tesoni, with the servants. And I always had this thought, like, I dedicated 12 days to people I didn't know and like spent time with them and learned a lot from them. Why do we see that as more of a service than dedicating days with our family and learning from them as well?
Yeah. Jesus, when he sent the disciples the first time he sent them, he didn't want them to go outside. He said, go first to your family, and then to Samaritan, which is a little bit far, and then to the rest of the world. So as if Jesus invited us to serve inside our circle first, and then we serve outside our circle. I like the question very much because it opened an eye for us that missionary work or service work doesn't have to be by flying 5 hours or 10 hours or more, but it can be within our very, very close circle by serving other people. Like maybe your sister or your brother, when you serve him or when you do something for God, or when you are a good example at home, you may get to know Jesus without you notice. And maybe when he talks, I'll tell you a lovely story about a man who stand in a funeral of his dad, and he is talking about how was his dad great. His dad was a very good servant in the church. So uh, he started by saying that every Sunday morning, my dad wake up different than any other day. He just say hymns loudly, joyfully, have a shower, make sure that he shave his beard, his face, and wears the best clothes, and go to church. And this happened every Sunday. Whenever Abuna called him for a service, because as I said, he did everything. He's a businessman and his time is not here. But when Abuna calls, it is like God calls. And he started saying what he noticed in his dad when he was little. So I said, wow, everything the dad is doing is recorded in the mind of the kid. And it touched his heart. And when in the funeral of his dad, he say how much he learned from his dad, not by words, but living with his dad, he saw how his dad behaving in a very good way towards the church, towards God, towards people who are in need, and so on. So yes, of course, we start in our family, and always having this will, strong will that I really need to be a good example in my family for every member of my family. That's really very good.
But on that point, when we serve for mission trips, for example, for overseas or even just in our society here, do we serve through our actions or do we go to people and tell them about Christianity, or is that too like confrontational? Like, how do we serve in that way?
It depends. Yeah, I mean, sometimes your heart is the Holy Spirit move your heart to say that loudly, and sometimes you say no, it's not the right time. One time I was flying from Singapore, was serving in Singapore, and I finished the mass and the visitation, and I go to the late flight, 12 midnight in Singapore, to come here next day morning. And I was very, very much love to sleep. 8 hours, beautiful, and I sleep very well in the airplane, I mean, problem. So I said, and the person, Aussie guy, beside me, probably 60 years of age, very lovely. And he smiled and say, very gentleman, he says that I can see you not sleeping. I was just finished and I was reading my Agbeya and about to sleep. And I say, well, I'm very much asleep. I love to sleep inside myself. They say, can we talk? And I said, yeah, of course, yeah, we talk. And he said, I see that you are a priest. Can we talk about anything but not God? I say, wow. And I said, yes, we can talk about anything but not that. And he started saying, yeah, what we're doing in Singapore, what is his work in Australia, and so on. And then finish, and they say, and what you asked me, what you were doing in Singapore. So I said, you asked me not to talk about God. Singapore is one about God. And he said, okay, and you're please, you have a church in Singapore, you are serving, and so on. And I said yes, and I didn't want to be pushy at all. Like when he said, I don't want you to speak about that, I respect that. I'll talk to the man gentle. He knows I'm a priest. Unless he has a good impression about a priest talking to him, yeah, this will be enough for me, yeah, to be gentle to him, yeah. And then he says that he is working in a charity, like he has a very big charity. And most of the Australian people are Christians. So I decided to confront, to be a more of confronting, which is not always my nature. Yeah, my nature is maybe I'll be very gentle with a person until maybe the words open itself. But at that time, in my heart, I will confront him. So I can see you doing things good, yeah, for poor people and so on. And why you are against that? Why you don't want to speak about that? Very direct. And they said, my uncle was a priest, Catholic priest, that I was an altar boy all my life, and they grow up in the church. And we have in this church a lady who is just like Mother Teresa of the church. She's loving everyone, so gentle, so helping everyone. I love her so much. And she has one daughter. And this daughter got cancer when she was 16 years of age. And the whole church was begging the Lord on our knees. I used to go for meetings of prayer and so on. And then the Lord decided to take the life of her, of the daughter of this lady. So since that time, I say to the Lord, you go right, I go left. You go north, I go south. We don't have anything to do with each other. He put me in a very I pray to the Lord and say, you put in my heart, Lord, to start this confrontation, yeah, and help it. But came to my mind a question. I told him, what about the mom of this daughter you are talking about? This daughter, is she also became atheist? She doesn't want to have anything with God? I stopped kind of for a few seconds. Say no. She's she's still very faithful and she still go to the church. And as if the Lord opened a door for me. Say if their mom, yeah, you never be in their mom's shoes. Yeah, the Lord comfort their heart. This is by itself miracle from the Lord that the mom still have faith. And you are the one who is observing from outside. You lose your faith. This is a shame. It was very strong on him. I say shame. And I said, how do you think there is not evil? You think of the Lord that is evil? No, the lady was very, very much ready to heaven at that time. And he gave comfort to the mom. And everything is fine. The church is still growing. The church people go to the church. You're the only one who is outside. Kept talking until the 8 hours pass. It's the morning, brings the breakfast, and we reached Sydney. And it was very nice. He asked about it, he asked about, and I talked to him about the Bible and so on. So back to your question, confrontation or not confrontation, 50-50. Like, leave the Lord guide you to where you could, but it is right sometimes to confront. Yeah.
Yeah, I want another personal question.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, are there any other stories that really touched your heart overseas in mission trips? You mentioned obviously how you started St. Randos and how the incubators and all that touched your heart. Is there anything else that really sticks with you?
Many stories like the story of losing my passport while I'm serving. The other part of this story is following day I have to come to Sydney on the Christmas morning after serving in Malaysia. I was serving in Malaysia on the Christmas. Christmas, the day before Christmas, the morning, we pray Mass in the morning, and then I go to Singapore, praise the Eve as normal because more families in Singapore than in Malaysia. And then I take the flight at night. I reach here in the morning. And in that morning, my older son was dating at that time his wife at the moment, and we are inviting her family for the first time to come to our house. And my wife said, you don't go, you just give this tip to anyone else, any of the priests. And I said, no, I'll make sure 9 o'clock I'll be at home. And she said, it is very embarrassing if you are not here on time. The flight is there. I said, no. Be sure I'll be here 9 o'clock. So when I lost my passport, it is the service in Singapore will stop. They want to pray the Christmas Eve because it was too late to get any priest to come from Sydney to was not enough time. Secondly, my wife is at home and my son, which is really, I beg the Lord that please, Lord, help me in that because it will be very complicated situation and because we are serving in Singapore, Malaysia, and many other countries as well. So the Lord is very kind in us. And also something in Singapore in particular, I remember that the families in Singapore, usually there is one deacon only you can rely on. Like they are coming from America, Europe. Singapore is the headquarter of many big companies. So people comes, but they are not deacons. They are not good deacons. Yeah. If, Abuna goes over there relying on one deacon. And because Singapore people come for a contract, so they work 3 years, 4 years, and they leave and new congregation comes. And I noticed in the last 20 years serving in Singapore, and I shared that with Abuna Mustinos and Abuna Michael, who's serving with us in Singapore, that one is informing Abuna that I'm leaving after 3 months. And Abuna start to be worried that the good deacon, the head of the deacon. Without him, Abuna will going to pray. This happened a couple of times. Abuna is going to pray. Abuna is going to pray a deacon, outside deacons. The whole mess is Abuna is praying because just one, usually one deacon is really good and they can lead the prayer. And in the last 20 years, one informed Abuna that I'm leaving in 3 months, and then I'm gonna receive maybe 2 weeks before this person leave, a new person come, and he's a very good deacon. And in the last 20 years, we never had the church without a new deacon. One leave, one come. One leave, one come. As if the Lord provide for his church always with services. Yes, it's a miracle. Like 20 years, one lead, always we have a good leader of deacon, like someone who's really very good. He can pray with the moon as a feast, he knows the tunes, he knows the sbeha, and always the Lord provides the church in Singapore. This why I'm not saying about Malaysia and other, because in Malaysia, number of them are good deacon, but Singapore only one good deacon is our sweetie. Never been to two, just one.
So, Bona, like with your experiences in Malaysia and Singapore, like they don't really, I think, have a permanent priest. So for them to serve, would they need to like open their own doors then to serve the people around them and the community surrounding them?
Yeah. There are beautiful services in Singapore in particular that many people from the community, whether Indian or Chinese or Malay, because these are the people in Malaysia, they became Christian to our church through the service of the community over there. So we have now at the moment 50% of the church in Singapore are Coptic, original Coptic, and 50% are from the community served by people. And so you go and find mix like some college here. We have Coptic people originally and some other people come as well. So it is the same thing.
And the last question.
Last question.
Yeah.
Is Abuna, you mentioned all these miracles that come from serving God, but are there other ways to see God's work in your life through service other than miracles, or is that just the main one?
I think the work of God, all the work of God are miracles. Like when you serve the Lord and your service is flourishing, or people like your service and so on, it's a miracle. When a church started in some area like St. Juana's church started very last year or so, and it's flourishing very well. It's a miracle. Like start something and grow very much like that in a very short period of time. It's a miracle. So I think when you serve the Lord, you always see miracles because all the work of the Lord is made. When you read Matthew, majority of Matthew are miracles. Like when you read the book, miracle after miracle after miracle. Except the teaching of the mountain, Matthew 5, 6, and 7 are teaching, but it's a miraculous teaching as well, like a teaching no one came before, like this teaching of the Lord. So serving the Lord is always have you always have miracle. The miracle is you come back joyful. Like when I go to visit people in hospitals here in Australia, And especially HSC students, after they finish their school, they stay in the church. We have a program for them. And they are always in the church. So I take them to visit hospital or nursing home. And the joy they have after they visit, they have joy. There is a joy in our heart. I do not know why. We visit someone very sick in the hospital, just pray with them and when them with oil, visit them with a Buddha. Why this joy? We are very happy. We love to repeat this service again. This joy is a miracle of serving the Lord. He always gives joy to the people who is serving Him. Always when you serve the Lord, it is guarantees the joy. The Lord will put in your heart a lot of joy when you serve Him, 100%. Yeah, and you see the hand of the Lord in that case. Maybe I finish with a story in Thailand where you're serving in Thailand, and Abuna Agustinus started this service 21 years ago, exactly, because it was 1 year after my ordination. And I'm a priest for 22 years, so 21 years exactly, I know. Abuna started and he established a church in Thailand, and he gets someone from Thai people to translate. Her name was Marianne, I remember her name. And it was a young lady speaking English and speak Thai, and I bring her to just translate the sermon, translate whatever I said over there, number of weeks, and then he came back and said, can you go for second mission trip with the youth? And I said, yes. And I went on a Monday, and all the way until Saturday, I see Marianne every day. She is appointed by Abuna, and he gives her wages. Yeah, she's not volunteer. And she came on Saturday in a very nasty way, and she told me, Abuna Agustinus is not paying me enough. That's very unfair what he's paying me. I need double of what he is giving me. Otherwise, I won't come tomorrow to the Mass. The Mass having at that time probably 120
Wow.
person attending the Mass Thai, and they need translations. So she put me in a place that I cannot do anything. So I didn't like the way, and I say, we are starting a church of God in a place, and if we really do that, the Lord wants to bless. Yeah, this is not nice, and I want to trust someone who is like that in this manner to translate to the people and to be part of the church. Yeah. So without going back to Open Augustinus, I told them, no, I don't need you tomorrow. And I don't have any plan B. It just came to my mind, whatever happened, but this lady, she won't serve with us. Then after that, Satan caused me a lot of trouble. He didn't ask Open Augustinus. He's the one who started the service. Will be very upset for me. What is the situation tomorrow when people come, you speak English, you don't speak Thai? And I said, Lord, yeah, you saw me, but that was my thought, and that's it. And then at that night, we went to buy some stuff for the church. Part of it was audio system, and we went to a nice shop as couple, a Thai couple selling the audio, and we bought some audio system from them. And at the end, I said, can you help me? I need someone who speaks English to translate to us tomorrow. And do you know anyone? Because they speak English well. And they said, yeah, we can come and help you. Yani, we're Christian ourselves, but we go to Protestant church. And I said, but this will be permanent. They said, all right, let us solve it tomorrow, and then we'll see a solution later on. I say, I'll come with my wife tomorrow, and we'll be happy. But very gentle to talk to people, say how much I can offer you. And then I'm ready to offer 10 times that what Marianne taken, but not Marianne. So they came and said, no, we don't take money from the church. We offer money to the church. If you need anything, just tell us, let us know, and we offer money to the church. So they came and they translate, and very gentle. Let's say we try to send you someone to be permanent, someone who speak English and need some money, and we try to arrange that, which they done later on. And then Ahmed called out of nowhere. Bishop Sid called me and say, how are you, Abuna? How things in Thailand? Say, very good, Sayed. And he asked me a question which is very, very strange. He said, have you experienced the hand of the Lord while you are serving overseas, Abuna, in a mission? And it was a story of mine. Today, Sayed, I have experienced the miraculous hand of the Lord myself. So always when we serve the Lord, there is miracle and there is support from the Lord, definitely.
Wow.
so much.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Abuna.
That's
thank you
beautiful.
very much. Thank you very much.